Okay, guys, so you should have out page 78 in your RepJ, your calculator, and a writing utensil. If you don't, use this time to get it. If you need to pause the video at any time, just ask whoever is subbing today to just pause it, and then you can always rewatch it later too if you didn't get it in class, because I will post it on Google Classroom. So let's talk about page 78. It's okay if you didn't finish it. I know some people had trouble. We're going to go through the first 5 problems together, and then we are going to do the rest for homework. So hopefully after the first 5 problems, you get a feeling for how this is supposed to go. Okay, so number 1. Again, you should have your RepJ page out, so you're going to do all of this on your RepJ page. If you already completed your RepJ page, you're just going to use this time to check as I go along, make sure you have everything in the right location. So number 1 is 6n is less than 90. So this is just like any of the equations we've done in the past. It's just an inequality sign instead of an equation, an equal sign. So we've got to get n by itself. We are currently multiplying 6 by n. So to get n by itself, we have to do the opposite, which is divide. 6 over 6 just leaves n on this side. 90 divided by 6 is going to be 15. So you are going to take 90 divided by 15, or 90 divided by 6, which is 15. You divided by a positive, so your inequality sign is going to stay the same. Okay? Then it asks you to graph it. You can do this several ways. You can start at 0 and work your way out to 15. Or you can start with the numbers that surround 15 and then graph it from there. That's the way I like to start it because some of our numbers get a little large. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to make sure I do at least 5 numbers. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I like to have a number on either side of 15. All right. So I've got my number line started. Now I'm going to graph it. Because it doesn't have a line underneath of the inequality sign, it's going to be an open circle. And you can look back on your notes to find that stuff. It says n is less than 15. So all of my solutions are going to be all the numbers less than 15. So that will be my graph. It starts at 15 because that's where my number is for my inequality, and anything less than 15 is my answer. Okay? So that's our first one. That's number 1. If you need to pause or go back, we can do that. Okay? Then we're going to do number 2. Number 2 says x over 4, so really x divided by 4, is less than or equal to negative 18. Okay, so just like our equation, we split it at the inequality sign. We're dividing by 4, so we've got to multiply by 4 to get rid of it, so they kind of cancel each other out. We're going to multiply by 4 on this side. Negative 18 times 4 using our integer rules is negative 72. X is left on this side. Now, you multiplied by a positive 4. So the sign stays the same. And you just graph it now. So again, like I said, the numbers get a little large, so I'm just going to start with 70. Oh shoot, it's negative, so forget that. I don't have the capability to erase right now. So 72 negative, so it's going to be negative 71, negative 72, negative 73, negative 74, negative 75. So we're just going to make sure I have that many for right now. It's going to be a closed circle because it's less than or equal to So that tells us the circle is going to be closed. And then it says x is less than or equal to negative 72. So all the solutions less than or equal to negative 72 are going to be our answer. Okay, so now we've got our interesting one where we have to divide by a negative. So now got 20t is greater than or equal to negative 80. Negative 20t. All right. We have now a negative that we're multiplying by the variable, which changes things. Like I said, if you divide or multiply by a negative, you're going to have to change your inequality sign. If you divide or multiply by a positive, you don't have to change your inequality. It remains the same. So we're currently multiplying by negative 20. That's what that means. So we're going to divide by negative 20. We're left with t on this side. Negative 80 divided by negative 20 is 4. And because we divided by a negative, we have to change our sign. Okay, and now we're going to graph it. Alright, it's going to be over the 4, and it's going to be open because there's no equal to sign underneath. And it says t is less than 4. So any solution less than 4 is going to be our solution. Okay, let's try number 4. Okay, I'm going to erase that. Remember, if you need to pause at all during this, just politely let the teacher know, and we can pause it and go back to it. So, number 4, negative 3q is greater than or equal to 91.5. Okay, so we are currently multiplying negative 3 by q, so we're going to split this to get rid of multiply. We divide. So divide 91.5 divided by negative 3. You are left with q on this side and 30.5 negative on this side. And again, we divided by a negative, so we got to take our inequality sign and flip it, because that's the rule when we divide by a negative. All right, and now we've got some decimals in here, so we've got to make sure we plot this in the right place. We're going to say negative 29, negative 30, negative 31, negative 32, and it says negative 30.5, so that's going to be between negative 30 and negative 31, just right there. Okay, and it's going to be a closed circle because it's got that equal to underneath. And again, this one worked out that it was less than or equal to, so q is less than or equal to negative 30.5, so anything less than or equal to negative 30.5 is going to be our answer. So it's going to be all the stuff here. Oh, where did my arrow go? There we go. Okay. Okay, pause it so that you can get this down if you need to. If you don't need to, go. That's okay. All right, last one we're going to do together, and then the rest you're going to do on your own, which hopefully we have a better feel for. So, negative 4p is less than 2/3. Don't let fractions freak you out. You can do this. Okay, so we're going to split this down the middle. We're currently multiplying by negative 4, so we've got to divide by negative 4. And I'm going to do this by hand, but you can also put it into a calculator. So we're left with p on this side. We're going to take 2, actually I'm going to do this up here, 2/3 divided by -4, which is really 2/3 times -1/4, because you keep, change, flip. So I have 2 negative and 12, which is -1/6 when you simplify, because 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 4 is 12. So on this side I have -1/6. Now, I divided by -4 in my original part of my problem. So I have to flip my sign. So instead of going to the less than, it's now greater than, because I divided by a negative, and then I plot it. So we're going to say 0, -1/6, -2/6, or 1/3, -3/6, which is 1/2, -4/6, so on and so forth. Okay, it's going to be an open circle because there's no equal to sign, and our answer says p is greater than -1/6. So it's all the stuff bigger than -1/6. That's why knowing how to read these out loud or in our head is also really, really important. Okay. All right, I want you to try the rest of page 78 on your own to finish tonight for homework, along with Mathathon, and then there'll be another list of to-do stuff that the sub is going to put under the Elmo for you. There'll be a practice sheet for the test. Our test is actually moved to Friday, because I really want to make sure we understand this tomorrow before we go back and start the test. I don't want us to do the test tomorrow if we're still struggling with this. Okay, guys. Good luck. Watch it again if you need it, and you can also type in inequalities with negatives into Google, and some stuff should pop up for Khan Academy. So, thanks.